In today's video, I want to talk about my personal views on firearms, self-defense, and the Second Amendment. Well, welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. And in this series, I like to discuss all things fatherhood, faith, and freedom. From right here inside my little tiny cabin on wheels, parked out on my family's 21-acre property here out in South Florida that we're calling the Hopeful Homestead. Hence the name of this channel. And I like to try to talk to all the dads and husbands out there that are going through life and having a difficult time with a few things, and we discuss some of those difficult topics right here while drinking some coffee and just having a good time. And now, today, I wanted to discuss my views on the Second Amendment, on firearms, self-defense, home defense, that whole subject. That brings me to the first point, talking about firearms in general, their role in society. I believe that firearms, they can be fun, they can be for a hobby and all that. And by all means, the guns that you choose to defend yourself and your family with should be fun to you. They should be something you want to take out shooting regularly so that you will stay proficient in using them. So you can responsibly deploy them in a stressful situation rather than pulling out a gun you'd never shoot and trying to defend your family with it and not accidentally hurt someone you don't want to hurt with it. But for the most part, firearms in general are for defending your family and property, safety and property, and defending them primarily against a tyrannical government. That's the purpose of the Second Amendment. Not just against home intruders or the bad guy that, happens to be walking down your street, or the mugger, when you're walking down a city block. Yes, firearms are good for those scenarios, but that's not what the Second Amendment's primary role is. The Second Amendment's primary role is to keep our government accountable from ever turning against us. And, keep other governments accountable from considering the possibility of invading the United States. I read somewhere that Japan, back in World War II, pretty much ruled out the possibility of invading the actual continental United States because they had spies here that were able to discover how many registered hunting licenses there were in the US, and there was something like 500,000 registered hunting licenses in the 1940s. And so they knew that there was 500,000 people who were proficient with not just firearms but sniping from a distance, and they knew that there was probably far more than that didn't register as well. So that actually deterred them from even considering wanting to invade the homeland here. And so having that reputation as a country with the Second Amendment, it paid off, and it continues to pay off, and it will always continue to protect our people from our government ever getting too big for their britches. And you know what? If the government does, or if someone's stupid enough to invade, there's a lot of rednecks and a lot of good old boys and a lot of guys out here, and a lot of gals out here too, that will stand their ground, and they will not let someone take what's theirs. Oh man. And when it comes to self-defense, I personally believe that the laws as they stand in Florida, pretty accurate for what they should be. We are a stand your ground state. We are not required to flee first before defending ourselves, no matter where we are, not just in our homes, but out in public as well. If you're in a situation where your life becomes threatened by the actions of someone, you should be able to stand your ground. If you notice that someone else's life is being threatened by someone, or even in Florida, they say great bodily harm is a threat, not just life-threatening, but even great bodily harm. You can use deadly and lethal force, whether it's with a firearm or something else, to neutralize the threat. And that's the way it should be. At least in states like Florida, Texas, and others, you can know that you can defend your family, you can defend yourself, you can defend the single mom that's walking down the street that's getting mugged. You can defend her. It's good peace of mind knowing that that's possible here. And I think I covered my opinion on the Second Amendment already. It's, like I said, a lot of people like to try to say it's so that the forefathers wanted us to be able to protect our ability to hunt. That's just laughable. It's pretty obvious, the intent of the Second Amendment in the Constitution, and just by looking at what was going on at the time that inspired them to put it in there, and the fact that it's the Second Amendment. First being speech, knowing that should be ultimately your number one right, to be able to say and do and think what you want. And then secondly, to be able to defend your right to say and do and think whatever you want. So that's my opinion on the matter. I think I've cleared the air pretty well. I can talk about things involving firearms and guns and everything now, and everyone knows where I stand on that. So I appreciate you being here. Again, this has been an episode of Coffee Talk here out on the Hopeful Homestead in my little tiny cabin, and I will talk to you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.